Well, it says it's 3 p.m. here, and I've got a report from Google Plus that this Hangout is live. This is Alan Bechtold. We're here for Spotlight Your Authority, the second session. This is where we get to firing up and really doing some stuff, nailing. Last week I gave you a lot to do, and setting up all those social media accounts. Your profiles are particularly important. And I have a confession to make. I haven't done all of it myself yet. I originally focused on setting up I've got a Google Plus profile for LifePath Books. I've got a LifePath Books profile on LinkedIn. I have not yet set up my LifePath Books profile on Facebook. I've got to do that. There's a dent in my rear where I kicked myself because I haven't got it done yet, but watch me, I will have it done. And member Steve Pollitt made a good point today and mentioned that you really need to set up, I missed one, you need to set up a YouTube account and set up a channel for your account, because we are going to get into some how-to on using Google Hangouts down the road. And that is a part of the system that makes it all work together so well. It's this Google Hangouts, I'm just going to tell you, I'm still wading my way through figuring out some of the things I'm going to show you that I've learned the hard way, and I continue to learn them the hard way. For example, there's a really cool little bottom third of the screen name and your picture that pops up at the bottom that I forgot to use last time. That's part of Google Plus's system, their Hangout system. Forgot to use it last time, set it up this time, and for some reason when I looked at it earlier today, it was backwards. And I'm trying to figure out if that's how it's supposed to look or not. So I'm going to play with that before I impose that upon you backwards. But anyway, I am a little behind. There's a couple I'm lagging behind on, and so I'm not going to be very rough on you or beat up on you too hard if you're not quite there yet. But go ahead and make sure you finish that while I finish out parts of my own system that are missing, and they are important. But I am following along with you. That's the whole point, building all of this out, because I know the power of what I'm showing you, and it works without fail. And why I'm lagging behind, it's kind of a long story. I don't want to bore it with you here, but I originally built LifePath Books as a client-focused business, and a lot of what that company does for its clients involves my own personal time. And after roughly 2 years of getting the business where it is today, and about 2 years too late, I got to add, I'm going out much stronger with my own information marketing efforts from this point forward. In the past, I kind of was relying on some other entities, shall we say, to do a lot of my marketing and promotion for me, and that was working great, but not great enough for the growth I want to make the company take on this year. And if you don't want to wait for your growth, you want to follow these steps. And this is just another reason why I was driven to revise and update this training and put these sessions together for you. This is also for me as much as it is for you. And I'm still working on it myself. So like I said, I'm not going to beat you up too hard if you're not quite there yet. Next week, maybe you better be, because I might pull out the whip a little tougher if you haven't got it done. That all being said and out of the way, let's dive into this week. Like I said, last week we set up our business pages and media accounts, or at least got them started and got some of the most important ones you want to use set up. That this is what we're going to use to promote our business and to publish to, and making up for my own lost time and finishing it up on my own. But that's all the techie, not so fun stuff that I want to deal with for a while. So it's time to take a little break and have some fun, and I bet you're ready for that too. I bet you thought this was supposed to be all about content creation, right? I bet setting up all that social media stuff was probably a little bit, you were wondering, what are we doing here? Is this content creation or social media marketing? It's a combination of the two. It's putting the power of content creation to work for you so that social media works like you want it to, as well as a lot of other things. And that's why first we had to set up what we're going to be doing with our content after we've created it to give it a useful home, and then build it into a solid, powerful marketing platform that will carry us forward with profits and sales like crazy. And it's important because I want you to quickly generate content and publish quality content that you're able to easily use, not only to fill up your blog and eventually information products, training courses of your own, and even entire books, but I also want you to start generating traffic from the information you create as soon as possible. Even if you already have books and courses to sell, if you didn't do this part in the first place, you need to be doing it. But like I said, enough of all that. Let's start looking at where you can find all kinds of great content. And at first, it might seem like a little bit of overwhelm. You might start asking yourself, why do I need all of this? And I want to explain something about my think like a publisher theory real quickly. And this isn't in the notes, so be glad you're watching the video. This is off the cuff. I really should have probably called it Think Like a Journalist, but that implies there's lots of writing involved, and there doesn't have to be any if you don't want to mess with it. What it is, the publisher aspect is gathering. Publishers gather information that they publish. They don't worry about writing it. If they need it written, they find the right people to write it. Now, one of my heroes in publishing, Hugh Hefner, when I was writing fiction, the first place you wanted to submit a fiction story to was always Playboy magazine. Why? Because at the time they paid $2 a word when most of the fiction magazines out there were paying a nickel. And if they did pick up your story, you made not only great money, but you got incredible exposure for your writing. Now, why did a men's magazine pay that much? Because he didn't want to be known as just a men's magazine with pictures. He wanted the very best articles, interviews, and fiction in that magazine from the beginning, and he knew how to get it. He was paying more than any other magazine at the time, and I'm not sure what they pay today. I haven't looked at that market, but they were paying more at the time because the more stories coming in to sift through and throw away, the better the ones they kept were. So I want you to focus on gathering as much information as you can so you have that power too, to throw away all but the golden gems. And you're not just running with something because, well, it's what I was able to find right away. I hope you get that point. So we'll start with my first method, and that's what we're going to focus on today, and it's the primary method. It makes a lot of the other methods I'm going to show you as we proceed in future sessions much easier and more possible. And it's the most evergreen content generation technique I've ever used. I presented it in my original e-publishing business system training, and I'm updating it with this training, but it's been used successfully by journalists and writers for nearly a century, if not longer, and it simply keeps working, and it will keep working. But as I said, the beauty of this is that technology and new online services continue to make what you need to do to take advantage of this method of content generation and gathering so much easier. When I started my first electronic news service on the dial-up computer bulletin boards back before there was a web, and even before that, when I was publishing other newsletters and print publications, I had to contact printed directories. There was one called the Bowker directory, and it was one that was purchased by press agents and PR people. I had to wait for forms in the mail, fill them out, mail them back, and then wait months for my listing to appear to use this method. Now, when I did have the listing appear, I started getting all kinds of great content coming in. It was worth it. But you don't have to wait today. You can start gathering this today. You're so lucky to be doing this now. Let me show you what I mean. It shouldn't be any secret by now, but I'm still surprised by how many people hadn't thought of it. But press releases are a prime source of original, late-breaking news and information that you can publish as you wish, any way you wish, word for word, as it was written, or you can chop it up, rearrange it, shorten it, whatever you want to do with it. It's yours. If you've been interested in internet marketing much at all, you've probably heard about using press releases to get your links posted on press release sites, and that's still a pretty viable method, by the way. Now, the trick here is to post a release on one or more of the many press release distribution sites, and you're supposed to, generally you want to use the ones that are free, because otherwise this will cost you a bundle. And then make sure that you include links to your site in your press release, so you get noticed by the search engines as having an article or a press release posted on these sites with a lot of traffic that come back to you. And of course, if your release actually got picked up by a blogger or another member of the media and it got published, great. That was a bonus in this case. But you'd get even more link power and readers or listeners who would hear about you if they did. But when you're thinking like a publisher and you want to fill your blog with late-breaking information and news that your visitors are going to be happy that you gave to them, these same press release sites can be a source of more publishable information than you might ever be able to use. This could be all you need. And like I said, and I'm going to hammer it in your head, press releases are free for you to use any way you want to use them. The people who release press releases are dreaming of people like you who would take their release and run with them. Many companies are spending hundreds or even thousands of dollars on public relations people who create, post, and send these releases to the media in the hopes that they'll get mentioned or used somehow. And you can use them too, because you are media. Think like that. Now, when you use them, remember, you can run them in whole. I once ran a printed trade journal that was almost entirely press releases, word for word almost. I would just edit out some of the more blatantly promotional stuff in them, but they're pretty much word for word. And I ran that, I laid it out, and sold ads, and published that for several years. But you can also edit them. You can chop them up. You can piece them together into other pieces. And without permission. You've already got permission. It's a press release. My two favorite press release distribution sites are, write these down, although it is in the notes I'll send you later, prweb.com, just like it sounds, prweb.com, and prnewswire.com. These were my two favorites years ago. They remain my two favorites. There's a lot more. As a matter of fact, there's right now technically hundreds of press release sites, distribution sites. Most of them, however, aren't going to be all that useful to you as a publisher. And I'll be able to explain that to you in just a bit here. And the good news is you don't even have to stare at me all hour here, this full time we're together, because I've actually prepared some slides to show you what I've got in mind for you here. We're going to slip over to the slides right now. These are some examples of free press release sites I found on a post in Mashable, and I want to give them credit. Let's see. Let's see if we can start this up. The free press release distribution sites include prbuzz.com, prcompass.com. You see there's a whole bunch of them there. What is that? How many do I have there? That's 8 of them on one page. And by the way, these are in your notes that I'll be sending you, so you don't need to be writing these down furiously. But as you can see, they all release these. The presses are free. Here's a bunch more. What is that? Another 8, 10, 12 of them? And there's more. But wait, there's more. The idea is I just wanted to show you how many of these sites are up there that are free. You might want to use a few of these sites to post a press release announcing the launch of your new blog, or you might also consider issuing a release every now and then. And press releases can be a powerful tool for backlinks. They still work. But also consider issuing a release, for example, if you want to announce a particularly potentially controversial or provocative post you just put on your blog. And because these sites are free, it's a great way to get noticed and get those backlinks, like I said. If you have the time or outsourcing funds to create a viable release and post it, why the heck not? And the good news is there's even some information on the 2 sites that I like, and probably on most of these, about how to write a press release and lay it out and prepare it properly. I'll show you where you'll find that on one of the 2 that I like. But when it comes to great content and creating content quickly and gathering information that is good content, you don't need all these sites to find an array of great material. You may want to browse through them, and if you're ever on a short news day, and just to dig around and see if there's something that the other 2 I'm going to cover in a minute didn't include. But this is one time when free is actually bad. And I'm not saying you won't find, like I said, I'm not saying you won't find a good press release on them now and then, but they're mostly not worth the time to look through because they're free. And you'll find we're going to start with PR Web and PR Newswire because they charge for releases when you post one on their site to distribute it. They're not included in the list above because they're not free, or the list above, the list I just showed you. But because these 2 sites cater to publicity seekers who are willing to pay for the distribution services they offer, you're not going to see a lot of the other releases on these other sites that are pure blathering promotion for no other reason to get a link on the press release sites and maybe snag a couple of gullible blogs. Like I said, there's still some of them that are useful, but there's still some of that also on the pay sites, but only from players with enough cash to pay for the delivery services they offer. Sometimes even the occasional blatantly promotional release on the paid sites will still carry excellent information you can mine. Now, let's start out though. Let's get going. Here's PR Web's opening screen when I looked on June 3rd, 2014. We'll take a peek at this page right here. Now, on the opening screen, you can forget about the create a free account up there unless you're going to be doing some serious pay-for-play press release distribution of your own down the road. Instead, you want to click the button I circled at the top menu there to go directly to the News Center. When you do that, you'll see this page. And this is, again, it won't be this page exactly because it's different every day, believe me. Once you're in the News Center, pardon me, you'll notice categories across the top of the screen. I circled the categories up there. You can select any of those to hone down on, press releases that have just been released today or that day by those categories, of course. There's also, over to the far right there, you notice a drop down that says Other. And that includes several more categories, including computers and several others that are of great interest. So you want to always check that one too, make sure. But click on one of these, and then you can enter keywords into the search bar. You can enter them anytime, but I like to go to the category and drill down a little bit. And then where it says Find Releases in that search bar there, you can enter a search term there. And this will bring up a list of all the news releases that day that match your search query. you might want to try several search terms that fit your industry niche. And I want to tell you, this isn't like keyword research for SEO or pay-per-click. You're going to want to go broader with your search terms, and you'll probably find you have to. While you might ordinarily focus on optimizing for durable house paint for southern climates, simply searching for paint or home remodeling will probably net better results. And then you can look for stories about paints of interest that have characteristics that would fit that market, fit the southern market if that's what you're writing about, and look for stories about those paints. If necessary, then you can contact the company to find out if what they sell or what they're offering in their press release does fit those southern climates that you're focusing on. Remember, any of these releases that you see up here, like this Boncha launches limited edition national flag candies, they're yours for the taking. You can just grab them and rework them into stories of your own, chop up choice pieces of several different related stories and create your own new one, or run the release word for word just as it's published. Note also, over to the side there, it says day on that dark gray menu to the left. This enables you to select a specific date going back through time and search for releases that were available on that day. So if you start doing some research and poking around on this site or these sites and you want to go back a week, you can. Many of your stories may not be so dated as today. You may want a week's worth or a month's worth. And sometimes it's useful to drill backwards that way. But notice also up there it says showing 1 to 25 of 2,500 results. Now, I had not clicked any of the categories up there when I did this, so what that's telling you is there's 2,500 results for that day. 2,500 press releases on one day. Now also note I circled over there in that gray bar to the left. Another interesting thing, and these really weren't available years ago when I did my original course, but they sure are now, and they're more valid today than ever. There's a little thing called video releases. Yep, a lot of companies now post video news releases, stories on video that you can also use as you see fit, just like the other press releases, in pieces or in whole. You can use them on your blog, in video webcasts you do, however you wish. And to look through it a little bit and just test this out, I clicked on it on June 3rd when I was on this site. Now, you'll notice it changes. Now we're in featured news environment. Now, I did click the environment button here just to go to one of the categories and show you, even in this category, there are quite a few video releases that are available, and it scrolls on down. There's quite a few. There's a bunch. But what came up at the top there I see are these two releases, and they're featured releases. Video releases, mind you. One is a video release about Obama's new energy policy. That's the one to the left I didn't circle. It's a fairly straightforward promotional piece from a company that provides home energy audits and services, from what I could tell when I briefly read through it. The story to the right, however, caught my eye. If I'm especially environmentally sound person, and covering that as my topic is environmental issues and neat new things to consider environmentally. It caught my eye because it's a video release about a new propane-powered mower. Now, let's say I had a video web show or a hangout show that I'm doing about environmental issues. I might be interested in using that video. Now, keep in mind, these videos are generally on YouTube, and Google Hangouts even has a little thing you can click, a tool you can click that you just put in the URL to a video on YouTube, and it'll play it when you press it. But anyway, I clicked that story to just see what was available. Sometimes when you click it, what you'll see is a video will pop up, and that's about it. When I clicked this one, it brought me to this page. And it's a company called Stay Green, and they've got a new propane mower initiative that reduces emissions and promotes sustainability. And it's a Southern California landscape company that's utilizing these solutions. And to the right, I circled there, and by the way, there are more videos on down the scroll that I couldn't capture on this screen, but they're right there. You can see 2 videos they did. One of them is Stay Green account manager Dave Colburn gets ready to take a new propane mower for a spin. You get video clips, guys. These are free video to use. And over on the left, there's a whole press release too. You can run the story if you want and drive people to your own video where you've incorporated some of these clips. You can do your own newscast. Some of the videos I've seen on the video releases look like newscasts. They've even got newscasters interviewing principals in the company and whatever. You can cut those right in. They're yours. Now, here's another really important thing about press releases. Notice I circled also at the top there the contact person. This Jill at Stay Green Inc. And there's her phone number, and if you click, there's an email. And there's a Twitter, for that matter, Twitter account. But you can contact this person. This is a direct connection with the person responsible for this release, and often this information is more important than the release itself. This is the way to reach out to people involved with either the news item in that press release or with the company at least. Often both. Now, regardless, if there's only one contact person, that's your main contact person, your point person, who can usually get you in touch with other principals involved with the company or with the news item itself. Usually, these people have paid a public relations company or person to create this release and the video. That may be that person, but they're still going to be able to connect you with people you want to talk to at the company. The company published this release and put that contact information because they want the release to pull in requests for more information and interviews. And here's a little secret about journalists. I've done a lot of press releases in my day, sent out tons of them. Most of the time, they don't run the release. Most of the time, they don't use what you sent. They instead just use that contact information to call you and make a few notes up from your release, ask a few questions, and then use that. So if you get a call, it's the same thing. They're going to probably run your story. Now, remember also on PR Web and PR Newswire, the company is also paid to have that press release distributed, hoping they can generate these requests. Don't disappoint them. You're not bothering them. I promise you. If it's a story you're considering and you look at it and it brings any questions to your mind, your audience may want to know the answers to those questions too. Get in touch with the contact person listed and see if you can interview or talk to someone at the company to get them those answers and more information to enrich the release when you use it by adding some snippets of your conversation with this person. Invaluable, I'm telling you. Truly invaluable. Even if the story looks interesting but then turns out not to be, or if it's from a company or source that is likely to release other information that might be of interest later, or if that company just might serve as a resource for other stories down the road. When you need a specific question answered, grab that contact info and save it in your address book. Note the company name and what they do. This contact list can prove invaluable to you down the road. Now, there's one more thing to look at while we're on PR Web. I went back to the opening page on PR Web here, or if you go back to the News Center, I guess this is the News Center. I'm actually in the News Center. You don't want to go to the front page. You want to go to the News Center. I'm sorry. But this is the News Center page again, where we started. Note the circled items in the black menu up there, RSS and email newsletters. Here, you can choose to subscribe to PR Web's RSS feeds and receive new press releases when they post them fed into an RSS reader of your choice. Now, when you click the RSS feeds button, you'll get a huge selection of feeds for the specific categories and types of stories, so you don't have to get flooded with a bunch of news you might not be interested in receiving. When you click the email newsletters option, it takes you to this page where you can sign up for a PR Web media account. Remember, I said your media now. You should sign up. Once you've set up your free PR Web media account, you can then go select from those categories and subcategories that are offered in the RSS feeds, and new releases in those selections you made will be automatically emailed you. And they always include links back to the original releases on the sites. I hope you're starting to see the power here. There's more. A lot more. Even though PR Web alone might seem like all you'd need, we've still got PR Newswire to consider. Now, we'll visit PR Newswire in just a second, but first, let's do a simple search on PR Web. It was June 4th when I prepared this part of it. I'm going to search for candy and see what came up on one day. So I hit the word candy. You can see it in the search bar up there. Note there's 3 stories here. I believe there were more on down. 2 are directly about candy. I'm willing to bet, without reading deeper into the release, and I didn't bother to go read it, that the article about Heimlich Heroes mentions choking on candy or something, which would explain why it came up. Remember, when people post press releases on these sites, they enter the keywords they want their press releases to come up on when you type them in. Somebody typed candy in their list of keywords, and it probably has something to do with that. Either that or they're sending free candy to the heroes when they award the award, or something related to candies happening. But you'll also notice there's that bunch of limited edition national flag candies, and then there's Dr. John's Candies issues how-to tips for parents to get their kids to eat healthier. Dr. John's Candies, sweet treats that can in fact be healthy. Okay, could be very interesting for a health-related site, or health products if you sell them, health and fitness or whatever. Depending on your search and the day you search, you might not find any matching releases on any single day. Then other days you might get 6 or 8 hits all at once. The key is to look daily, or better yet, set up an RSS subscription or fill out that email request account to get releases matching the keywords you're working with sent to you automatically. Now, as if that's not enough for you, there's still PR Newswire, which appears to be changing its name to iReach. I think they got purchased by a company called iReach, and they're starting to promote it more or whatever. But you can still get to the site. It's still a thriving business at prnewswire.com. When you go there, here's the PR Newswire main opening screen. Notice I circled up there at the top. This is the opening screen when you land there. There's for journalists and for bloggers in the upper right-hand corner of the screen. Now, back when I did this years ago in my original course, I didn't have the for bloggers option up there. They kind of looked down on bloggers, actually. But you can now click on either of these. You can go there and look at their news as a blogger or as a journalist. And in fact, I'm going to show you what each of these options will bring to you. But today, PR Newswire has text on its site that tells you not to let PR Newswire for journalists dissuade you from signing up, as it's a part of their service for all content creators. I love that. I suggest you start by clicking on for journalists, even though you might feel like you're quote-unquote just a blogger. Now, just a side note, like I said, there was a time when the PR people and even industry trade shows looked down on bloggers. They felt that anyone could start a blog, so they didn't think they were all that important. They found out since then that many blogs are huge movers and shakers of opinion, run by people of influence online with a following So now they treat bloggers with a lot more respect, like regular journalists, which they should have been doing all along, but at least they woke up, right? Now, if we click on PR Newswire for journalists, that link will bring up the following page. Notice on this page you can get access to news delivered to your email box, just like PR Web. You can see it down there in the lower right, lower left-hand corner. Sorry, lower right. I had the wrong screen. I'm using my left and right, getting them confused today. What do you know? It's Friday. But it says news delivered to your inbox, connect with quality sources and experts, and access to thousands of free photos you can use. Now, I showed you how you can get valuable video clips and entire video presentations for free to use. Is that great content or what? I told you there's lots of free great content around. But here's free access to thousands of photos. If you can't put together great content that's original and compelling that your audience is going to love with a plethora, and I love using that word, friends of mine will know I try to work it in at least twice a day in a conversation somewhere, and I just did one of them. You'll notice that if you can't do it with the amazing array of articles and press releases and video and photos available on just these two sites, you're sleeping too much. That's all I can say. But the Get Started Now button that I circled there will take you to the page where you can fill out a form to sign up as a web journalist. Here's why PR Web says you should sign up, and I agree. On the page it says your membership benefits when you set up an account. You can customize your profile to receive news based on keyword, industry, company, or subject, how you want to receive it, and when you want it. And you can submit media inquiries or queries to get the right sources for your story. And you get access to those thousands of photos, headshots, and graphics for your story. Now, I want to point out, media queries are interesting. If you're putting together a story about something and need a different angle, another viewpoint, or possibly further facts and information, you could post a query here and possibly hear back from experts in other companies on the subject who also use PR Newswire. You could even post queries looking for interview guests. We're going to get into those later, not this session. Now, if you click the Get Started Now button that I circled earlier, you come to this form. This is where you create your journalist account. There's a lot of pretty much standard fields to fill out on this form. Just fill them out with your information as it's asked for there. You know, password, email, first name, last name, blah, 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 blah. Organization name is, of course, your company name. Job titles is up to you. I like to type in publisher or editorial director. It's you can also use journalist or whatever you want. I like those two because it actually implies a little more power in the decision-making end of things, which stories are going to get published and how the information will eventually be used. In other words, they take you a lot more seriously. There's a pull-down menu here. I don't know if you can see it on here. That's for organization type, way down in the lower left-hand corner of the screen. Organization type does get a little more specific. On the list of available options, you can pick more than one. I recommend you select blogger, freelance/writer, and web/online service. You can, of course, pick whatever you want. The other drop-down menu gives you options for coverage area. And there you're kind of looking at the main general category of interest that you have in types of stories. It's a kind of your chosen niche. Again, more than one option could be clicked. At the very least, pick features and maybe one other. I like features because that leaves it wide open. You can write features about all kinds of things. And again, just as with PR Web, when you fill out your form, you'll be presented with a lot of options enabling you to drill down on which specific topics you wish to receive news releases covering. This being done, With just PR Web and PR Newswire, you should be able to start checking your email daily and see releases coming direct to your box. If there isn't anything for any given day, you can always go to one or both sites and poke around a bit and search like I just showed you how to do. To see what there is there that might still fit your criteria for something newsworthy, but didn't get picked up for one reason or the other because the keywords weren't right. And it still could be useful information that didn't get sent to you. You can also try hitting some of those free sites, but that's if you've got plenty of time on your hands. I guarantee you it won't be as rich a mine as you'll find on these two. If you go back to the PR Newswire opening screen and then click for bloggers, you come to this screen. Now, the For Bloggers page features shorter blog post length pieces you can use. And remember, I told you I was going to hammer you with this. These are yours to use any way you wish. Okay? It's free information. Note the search bar I circled again up there in the corner on the right-hand side of the screen. Above this search bar are two little selections, blogger posts and news releases. This is where you can search PR Newswire. Say if something didn't come in at all worthwhile that day in your email. This is where you can go to search the system itself and see a whole bunch of other releases that might not have gotten picked up and sent to you. And it's going to be either new blog posts or full news releases on the search terms you're focusing on that you enter in that little search bar. Just maybe you want to check and see if there's anything new. It's always a good idea to have that available, and that's always there. There are also plug-in widgets and other tools on the For Bloggers page that you can use on your own blog. This can be really nice, but just make sure you've set up your blog so that you must approve all posts going to it. Then set up this widget. PR Newswire is going to feed posts via the widget based on your chosen niche keywords directly to your blog. You can then go through the stories that landed there since you've got to first approve them, edit any you wish, or delete those you don't, and then approve the ones you're going to use after you've edited them a bit. And then your news item is going to appear. It's kind of like having an assistant who helps fill up your blog, with news and information created for you, sent to you, delivered to the blog. Doesn't get a lot easier than that, does it? Yeah, down there in the corner, down there, let's see, blogger services, customized news feeds, news widget, ProfNet Connect, ProfNet. I'm not even sure what those two are. Those are new. I just now noticed those. I didn't notice them when I was capturing that screen. Just all kinds of fun stuff to do on these two sites when you're thinking of yourself as more of a publisher. And there's one other excellent source of news release and contacts. And for that, unfortunately, we're done with our slides. You're going to have to go back to looking at me. It's just kind of the way it goes. God, I hope I didn't. There, am I back? Yeah, I'm back. Let's drop out of the screen share and get me back. Hello. Oh, aren't Fridays fun? I see there's only one slide has been showing that whole time. Ay caramba. I should have been watching this closer. Can somebody type into the Q&A over there, did just one slide show? Really? This is not happiness. Because I can't see my feed when I go full screen that way. Grr. Don't you just love new technology? Let's see. Yeah, Marty said only one slide's been showing the whole time. I hope I didn't mess that up. But I'm going to keep going here, guys, because we're just coming up on the hour. If I have to, I may just have to. True. Okay. I am sorry. Wow. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I get some editing work tonight. I'm going to have to edit in that slide section somehow. But meanwhile, I will tell you this much. We do have it covered in one other way. Man, that is disgusting. I don't know why that didn't work. I went to full screen and it just stopped. I guess I should have shared full screen. I guess I shared the wrong thing. But I just want to tell you that those slides are all in the PDF that I'm going to send with the notes. And you'll be able to see them there for sure, one way or the other. It's just, dang, that's disgusting. Shall we get into the other source? I think so. Let's just move along. The other excellent source of news releases and contacts is corporate websites. This isn't necessarily limited to just major corporations. Some smaller companies and regional chains also post press releases on their sites. Also, notable experts who have books out or whatever, and authors, celebrities, if they've got a website, they may have this, and many do. The ones that are smart do. Even small companies that don't do this are missing out. What you want to do is identify companies and notable experts in your niche that you'd like to receive press releases from, or possibly even to interview. Search for them on Google, or go straight to their websites if you've got the URL. Good example of this would be, say you cover pet foods. That's your specialty. Dog food. You're into dogs and pets, and wouldn't you'd get a dog food company, dog toy companies. You could go to their sites. You'd probably already have their addresses. You could search and find them. But look on the website for something, and it's usually very, very small type. Sometimes at the bottom of the screen below the fold. You have to scroll down to get clear to the bottom page, or the page at the very bottom, or it'll be up in one of the corners in fine little print, but it's a link usually, and it'll say press or media or press room. Or sometimes even we were looking around the other day and found one that was just said investors. That's a good link to check too if there's no other option. Always go to press or media first, or press room if there is that link, because the other one isn't as important. If there's only an investors link, it's probably because that's the only people they care about showing their press releases to. But you'll usually in there see a lot of press releases about quarterly earnings and sales results, et cetera, et cetera. But what's funny is mixed in, there'll be announcements of opening a new chain, opening a new line of stores, or bringing in a new line of products, or a new technological development they're going to capitalize on. Stuff, again, that's of interest to investors. But it's also of interest to your audience, possibly. And if your audience is financial, that's the one place you want to go, okay? But here's what's cool. In a press room or media room on a website that is doing it right, and there's a lot of them, there will be, you'll see releases. That's where they put all their press releases. You'll often find releases from the company that may include every release they've ever issued. And I've found companies that have the releases going all the way back to the inception of the company. Other times they may only include more recent releases. But once again, you can also visit the website listed in press releases you found on PR Weber and PR Newswire. Say you find a press release announcing a new company, go to that site and see if they have a press room or media room. Because quite often, you're going to find more information in there than you did in the press release. Or you can find more about the history of the company or how it was founded. Sometimes several people are involved in the contact with the media, the people that you want to get in touch with, and those positions sometimes change hands. The most recent press release, of course, is always your best source for that media contact, but note any others in older releases, or especially releases that are more recent that came out maybe a week ago, because they may be someone that's also connected that is in a different department or has different level of access. And if the first person can't help you, you might be able to get a hold of them. This is tracking them down. But pay particular attention to the contact people listed on each of those releases. Also note any others if they're concerned with maybe different aspects of the company's activities. There may be a press person for investors. There may be a press person for new product releases, or press person for product development. And if they offer it, and sometimes they don't, but many times they do, you can sign up right there to receive new releases from the company directly. Again, usually by email, sometimes by RSS feed. This is going to bring even more press releases directly to you. Now, I hope you can see, in spite of the fact that maybe only one slide showed through that whole thing, dang it. And you'll notice this in the PDF I'm going to put up. As you can see, there's literally thousands of press releases issued every day. All of them are free for you to take, free for you to use as you see fit. You can even quote them word for word, or you can use any pieces or parts of them you wish. And you'll be providing your followers and readers or viewers with late-breaking news and information they may not have even heard about yet. You'll find them quite often after a while asking, and I've had this happen to me before, how on earth do you get all this? Where do you find out this stuff? You got a hotline? Is there a red phone on your desk? But it makes you the go-to source for these people and keeps them coming back to you for more. Your assignment for next week, and following through the PDF, this won't be as hard as trying to do it listening if there's only one slide showing on this whole presentation. I'm so disappointed about that. Sign up for prweb.com and prnewswire.com. Set up your accounts, browse their categories, and select those that fit your niche. Start poking around, see what kind of releases you find that match your niche keywords, and grab a few stories that look interesting. I want you to read through them, read over them, and see if there isn't something there that you could use. You'll start seeing what I mean. If you already had your blog up and running, if you've already got your blog up and running, great. Use that. Start using the stuff. Go for it. You don't have to wait to finish the course to get started publishing. And then start a Rolodex or an address contact list, whichever you use, of the contacts you find on these releases. Maybe adding a note about the release, and you got it, and how you got it, and where, and some reference material so that you've got that for a contact. Now, I can't believe I got through all of that in so short a time. It's probably because I was only showing one slide. It didn't take so long to display. Oh, it's so bad I almost feel like it's Monday. But that's about everything I've got for you this week. I'm going to show you a lot more tricks and ways to use these releases as we move along, including a lot more sources of cool information you can use for your own publishing efforts. Now, we've got a couple of live viewers on here. I'm wondering if we've got any questions besides, where'd all those other slides go? If you do, go ahead and feel free to enter them now. I'll be waiting, sitting here patiently, sipping my coffee, smashing myself in the forehead. Now, like I said, I will fix that video. What I'll do is I'll put the video up as is and pull it down and edit it up. It may be tomorrow before I get one back up that's got the right slides in it and everything working the way it should. I can capture all of those and plug them in right. Camtasia is a wonderful tool. Apparently, Google Plus Hangouts is a tricky tool. Last week I tried, it's funny, last week I tried sharing screens and everything was as slow as snails. This week I tried sharing screen and using that, using the slides. I'm not sure what went wrong there. If there are no questions, we're going to wrap this one up a few minutes early because I've got some video editing to do. Everybody, you got plenty to do. Finish up your setting up any of the social media pages that you haven't completed from last week, and get on PR Web and PR Newswire and start looking around. I have a feeling that may be what those who are watching right now are doing. I hope so. You may not even be listening anymore because it's Friday. Thanks a bunch. I look forward to next week. And if you've got any further questions, suggestions, or ideas, I'll see you in the Facebook group in between. Bye for now.